Picture a magic trick. Not the kind with top hats and rabbits, but the kind played on the global economy. You're a high-flying tech executive, the undisputed darling of European finance, and you've just made $2 billion completely evaporate. Not misplaced, not lost in bad investments, evaporated. This was Jan Marsalek. To the public, he was the brilliant chief operating officer of Wirecard, the digital payments giant that single-handedly convinced Germany it finally had its own Silicon Valley. Marsalek played the part to perfection. He wore bespoke slim-fit suits, drank 5,000 euros cognac, and exuded the cold, untouchable confidence of a man who owned the future. But beneath the sophisticated tech-wunderkind facade lay something entirely different. Marsalek understood a fundamental flaw in human psychology. If you are going to lie, do not lie small. Lie so colossally, so arrogantly, that the sheer scale of the deception paralyzes anyone from questioning it. Wirecard's meteoric rise was fueled by a simple, terrifying mechanism: phantom revenue. When the company's real numbers looked light, Marsalek's inner circle simply invented transactions. When auditors asked to see the cash, Marsalek pointed to a line of text on a spreadsheet and claimed the billions were resting safely in obscure escrow accounts in the Philippines. And for years, the financial world just nodded. But Marsalek wasn't just a corporate fraudster. He was a man living a double life in the twilight of international espionage. While managing Wirecard's books by day, he spent his nights building a shadow empire. He openly bragged to associates about ties to the Russian GRU. He flaunted classified documents detailing the formula for Novichok nerve agents. He even used a web of shell companies to fund shadowy mercenary groups in the Libyan desert. For Jan, corporate fraud wasn't the endgame. It was just a capital generator for his real passion, playing a real-world shadow operative. By 2019, investigative journalists began pulling at the loose threads. Marsalek didn't panic. He retaliated. He deployed private investigators to stalk reporters, launched aggressive legal warfare, and gaslit the entire European market into believing they were the criminals trying to sabotage a national treasure. It was a flawless psychological trap. Right up until the moment an auditor finally flew to Manila, walked into the banks, and realized the truth. The accounts were empty space. The $2 billion didn't exist. The illusion shattered in an afternoon. On June 18, 2020, Wirecard confessed to the void on its balance sheet. Marsalek was instantly suspended. A normal executive breaks down, calls a criminal defense lawyer, or hides in a mansion. Marsalek merely went out for a quiet dinner. He casually remarked to a colleague that he was boarding a flight to Manila to clear his name, walked out of the restaurant, and vanished into the night. He never went to Asia. Instead, Marsalek engineered his masterpiece. While Interpol was busy tracking simulated digital check-ins his associates planted in the Philippines to confuse authorities, Marsalek was handing stacks of cash to a private pilot at a secluded airfield in Austria. By the time the global manhunt turned its eyes toward the east, Marsalek's private jet had already slipped through the clouds and touched down in Minsk, Belarus. Hours later, he crossed the border into Russia. Today, Wirecard is dead, its CEO is on trial, and billions of investor dollars are permanently gone. And Jan? He sits at the absolute top of Interpol's most wanted list. He began his career processing payments for illegal gambling and adult websites, rose to the peak of Western corporate royalty, and exited as a literal phantom. Recent intelligence leaks reveal he didn't run away to hide on a beach. He simply traded his corporate uniform for a state-sponsored shadow. Living under an assumed identity in a heavily guarded estate near Moscow, Marsalek is reportedly working directly with Russian intelligence, exchanging his masterclass skills in financial deception for permanent protection. The terrifying lesson of Jan Marsalek isn't that he got caught. It's how easily he held the world spellbound. He proved that in the modern age, reality is negotiable. Because if you play the game with enough cold, calculated audacity, by the time the world realizes you're a ghost, you're already pouring a drink in a safe house where the law can never reach you.